It's been about a month and a half since I did an update on how my fat loss phase has been going, so I thought I'd offer some details and also answer a few more of your Q&A that you guys left from last time. So I started at 230 pounds, about 104 and a half kilograms, and as you can see by the graph, progress is ongoing. I've lost about 8 pounds, or about 3.5 kilograms. But as you can also see, my weight has bounced up and down a few times, but the net result is still overall weight loss. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, some of that weight is purely water loss, meaning I will regain some of that weight at the end of this fat loss phase. I'd guess that about half of the weight is fat loss, still 4 pounds, about almost 2 kilograms of fat loss is a hefty amount of lard that's being dispatched from my body. I have this pair of jeans that was starting to get, pretty uncomfortable wearing, and now they're as comfortable as they'll get because, honestly, they look great, but they're just not very comfortable. But they are more comfortable than when my fat was helping compress my organs against the band. I have made a few adjustments, but nothing major. I was initially dropping my calories to 3,100, and now, to speed things up a little, I dropped them to 2,900 calories. But 2 weeks ago, I had dropped them to about 3,000. So as you can see, it's incremental adjustments, and I didn't do it because my fat loss had stalled. I did it because I wanted to speed things up, and I kept ending my days with 200 or so calories left over. So why not cut them out at this point? So far so good, I'd say. My hunger has been incredibly manageable up to now, but it always is near the beginning of the diet. Once I get closer to my goal, it will ratchet up to about 11. So I'll tell you all about that when we get there. Okay, so let's dive into a bit of Q&A. Same deal as last time. If you have related questions, post them in the comments for the next video. Phil was asking why I didn't eat in a way that keeps me at a healthy weight all year instead of to look good just in summer. Well, I don't consider myself to be at a bad weight at 230 pounds. I like my look, but if I want to build muscle, I have to put on weight. I realize some of you have commented that I should change my diet so I don't have to gain weight, but frankly, you're wrong. You just gain weight to put on new muscle as a more seasoned lifter. Why? Well, because your cells rely on substrate to propel growth. When you do not have a slight overabundance in substrate, I'm talking fats and carbohydrates, not to even mention protein, your muscle cells heal, but they're slow to grow into new sizes. So I have ancient content explaining and looking at studies that have investigated all of this, if you're interested. Jenny and Sanguine asked about fasting. Do I fast? Yes, I do. When I get deeper into my fat loss. Currently, I'm still eating breakfast as detailed in my last video. Jenny also wanted to know, among other things, if you can build muscle intermittent fasting. The answer is yes. Sanguine mentioned HGH surges from meal timing, and no doubt me fasting does increase HGH production and helps in a snapshot with fat loss. You also mentioned that if I kept my carbs lower, my insulin will be lower and I may lose more fat. While technically true, since insulin also promotes fat storage, I have a series of videos explaining why the end result isn't any different. I won't re-explain it here, but I'd recommend that you check out some of that content because it explains things well, biasedly speaking. Ariel, the joke master, asked what kinds of problems I anticipate. I expect that my hunger will go through the roof. As I alluded to earlier, my sex drive will drop to zilch and my energy levels will drop. Unfortunately, those are the consequences once you reach a certain level of leanness. Luckily, I'm not competing for anything of that nature, so otherwise, I imagine the effects would be even worse. Veronica had a series of questions that I can quick pop through. One What is a better way of losing weight, fasting or calorie deficit? Well, all fasting is a calorie deficit, but not all calorie deficits are fasting. Either way, they both work. But I do think it's important to know how you react to both. I use a combination, but some people don't want to stick out months of a calorie deficit, so fasting is certainly quicker. Even if there are some drawbacks like difficulty maintaining lean tissue if you do multiple day fasts in quick succession. How do you calculate your BMR? Well, when I first started and when I trained people, I used a simple calorie calculator that was based off the Mifflin St. Georg calculator. So if we take your stats that you listed in your question, but you don't give your age, so I'll assume you're in your 20s, I'll link the calculator so you can change things. Then you'll get a number for your basal metabolic rate, or the BMR. However, we don't use the BMR, we actually use the TDEE, or the total daily energy expenditure, as our maintenance number. Then knock off some of those calories from there, and you have a starting point. So that's a basic way to go about it, but there's added precision after the fact. But that gets pretty involved. So thanks for the question, Veronica. And finally, Cheyenne asked if I'm losing weight because she called me thick. No, but I did laugh. So again, if you'd like me to cover some of your questions for next time, just post your question below. Obviously, I can't cover them all, but I try to get to most of them at the time of the recording. And if you have other questions that I didn't answer here, especially related to my nutrition, I'd highly recommend the first 2 videos in the series. And to everyone who decided to join in on the journey, I hope you're all having some success. Remember, having a few failures along the way is part of being human, and you'll only achieve success by continuing the path forward. Good luck, and thanks for hanging out. Till next time.